All right, we're starting this video off. We are painting still. That's what we're doing, or priming rather. So what I'm doing, you know, at the very end of the last video, I said I'm gonna pull the doors off and get them painted first. So, you know, that's still part of my plan, to get them primed first. That's what I meant. So, you know, the interior, I think, or the cab itself, you know, minus the doors and the interior here and the firewall. So just the cab is what I'm getting at here. I think is what I need to focus on getting painted, because that's the biggest project. And, you know, once I pull all the stuff off the firewall and all this crap out of the dash, then that's going to take the longest to pull apart and put back together. So anyway, I just made this trim strip. This is just a random beat up piece that I had that I cut, and it fits in there. And I'll take the buffer to it and clean it up a little bit. But that'll be my transition there to cover this thing up, obviously, because these are two different dashes. That thing I'm going to have to secure in there with some kind of adhesive. I'm not even sure yet, but I mean, you get the idea here. I'll do this. I got those little clips on the back side here, and I'll have to make me a piece of metal that screws to this piece, and then, you know, that snaps in. The same thing I did down there with these. There's a piece of metal on the bottom of my console that these ones go into. So, you know, I just unbolted the seats. The back seat's unbolted. Once I pull it out, once I figure out where I'm going to put all this stuff, I guess in the loft of the garage. Once I get this out of here, though, I can lay down in the floor and reach my arm way up in there and get this stuff out. And I'll have to take this out because that's my transition, but I'll just tape over the headliner. I'm gonna have to pull it down because it's really started sagging bad right here. So I'll repair all that once we go back together. But yeah, I mean, the cab, all that's got to get painted on the cab is the back wall and the dash and the pillars right there, you know. As far as the interior goes, I mean. But like, I'm not painting this area because it's covered, you know. All this will be painted, obviously. That was the next thing I was gonna say. I need to turn the truck around so I got easier access over here. Go down with the grinder, clean all that up, clean up all my, well, this is done back here apparently, but clean up all these, you know, from where I never did grind those off the rest of the way, I guess. And grind right there still. Whole bunch of little tack welds, and then weld this to the plate on the back, patch this hole. So all that is what we're working towards right now. We're gonna do some metal work, and then I guess we'll leave the doors sitting, you know, and then we'll pull the whole interior out and get the thing primed. I ordered the seal for the windshield and the back. So, and of course the interior is only one challenge. Now under the hood is the other challenge. You got to take all this crap off the firewall, get all this flaky paint gone, and then I'm gonna have to make me a block off plate that covers all these factory holes that I didn't use back there. And then when all this goes back together, the wiring will be a little neater. I've added a few random wires since I put all this loom together. And you know, whenever I do this would also be the time to paint all this crap. All right, quick update. It is the next day. So we pulled the doors off, already welded in these little areas. I'm gonna have to grind off all the extra. And doors are off. Obviously, I filled in some tiny little holes back there where this drip rail joins. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through, grind off all these welds. And there's a few down here. And I'm gonna wire wheel all of this loose paint crap. You know, make it all nice and pretty. And some spot welds up here that need to be ground off nice and flush. So what we're doing, we're just grinding and wire wheeling this area only right now. All right, here is the update for quitting time. I gotta go to work. So, this is done. I am covered in filth. I got wires all stuck in me from the wire wheel. I got this area done. There was like a hair bit of Bondo in this from whatever. Ground off all the rust down there. Ground off all the spot welds. Smoothed it all out, and I wire wheeled this whole area on the cab. We're looking pretty good. Then I wire wheeled almost all of the roof. I didn't get the other side yet. Then I unscrewed my lights. Seats are out. You can see how filthy the carpet is now. These are both unbolted, so all I gotta do is pull them out. This one's kind of like integrated into that with this vent, so I gotta get this out at the same time. So I gotta take all this stuff apart. So that'll be project for tomorrow night. And then also tomorrow, I guess I'll be pulling this whole thing out because that's all one big piece, and then my light. And then I'll probably re-glue this where it's sagging so bad. So that way, like, I can tape to it and it won't be flopping around in my way, you know? And then over here, I haven't done anything up front. Batteries are disconnected right now, but I guess technically the truck should still run and drive just fine. So doors are off over here too. I still got to wire wheel all this. Then I suppose the only filler that I'm going to be doing is maybe that area. Maybe in through here where, you know, there's the welds. And then this. So that way there's no way for water to get in. Specifically on the front, because that's right behind the tire. But yeah, got my plugs back in there. This one's pushed all the way through. So all I really got to do for the interior now is just pull this carpet up and tape it back to itself like that. And then I'll just spray all this. And then this, there's wiring harness under there. And I'll probably just paint right over these, to be quite honest about it. I got the ones on the other side off where I patched this area, so they're gonna have to be readjusted. But the doors on this side, where I've welded these little blocks to the thing, and the doors on this side, you literally just set them on and they bolt, like they line right up, and that's super nice. The other side, I may have to play with and get these welded on because those are super nice to have there. All right, I haven't made an update in 2 days. So here we are. I pulled all the trim out, the back glass is out, seat belts are out, all this crap's out, windshield is out. So right now I'm about to pull this outside and wire wheel everything. Anything that's not been wire wheeled yet, we're gonna wire wheel. We're gonna wire wheel this some more, get these extra paint chips out of here. The other side of the roof, up here under the lights where they ain't been done yet. And hopefully by the end of this week, we can get this cab in primer. All right, we are out here at 5 in the morning today. We got some new boxes, more new boxes of stuff. So the goal for today is to have this cab in primer, specifically the interior, but I'm probably just gonna try to do most of the whole thing. Check this out, this came in the mail. So we got those. Now we got the last 2 vents that we're gonna need because I ended up putting 2 more vents in here, down there. And then we got some sanding supplies. Cool. You like the contraption I made for the cab lights? I didn't want to disconnect these because I was having trouble getting them through the holes, and I really did not want to like accidentally pull it apart, the connection that I made into the wire, and it be stuck inside the roof, because there would be no, that's the point of no return. So I primed this section of the firewall. I'll have to do all that later once I pull the whole front end off. What was the other thing I was gonna say? All right, so we got to do a little bit of filler work in that area to make both rockers one rocker, and maybe some on those areas. And the only other filler is just apparently some right there. I guess I hit that with a grinder at one point. Maybe a skim coat through there. Definitely gonna cover that up because that's hideous. Same right there. Oh, and then this, yeah, for sure. Do a little area right through there. That's not gonna be today. This just got done like a few hours ago, and then I cleaned up the paint gun and went and ate lunch. So, yeah, it's only like an hour old or two. Anyway, the roof's done. There's a few dents right there, and they've been in the roof. Something must have happened to this old C60 roof skin in the past. I guess I'll put filler in that. Same thing this side, these areas, and make that rocker into one rocker. This thing's done. These interior pieces are done. So these, that and this will probably stay in primer. All this stuff and that's gonna be black, obviously. And I just like gave that a dusting with primer. These are like full-blown primed. These will all be metallic gray. These will be blue or gray, depending on, probably all blue, honestly. So here, to answer everybody's question, yes, I am going to paint this truck myself. And yes, it is going to be blue. Look at this. The doors, they're sitting there. Those are gonna be a separate project, and I'll do all those all at once. I'm worried about the cab. Now, this is by far the most in-depth part of this project. I got everything tore apart. The truck obviously is not drivable in this condition, and it's pretty useless to me, tore apart in the garage. So we'll get the interior done. That's not gonna be that bad, I don't think. And you know, back here, I don't think I gotta do any metal work back here. There's that little divot from where somebody had a gun rack or whatever, but I'm not even gonna worry about it. I think it's fine. So yeah. Oh yeah, and then the roof, I gotta do just a hair bit of filler where the seam is. Even though it don't look bad, but we're gonna smooth it out just a little bit. I think there's a few waves right there. Yeah, buddy. So, I mean, we're in the right track at least. I got to work this weekend, so this is the only day this week that I've actually got to work on this thing. So we'll work this weekend, and next week we're going to come back, and this will be cured by then and set up. We'll slap some Bondo on there. We'll sand it down real nice and pretty. We'll prime it one more time over the Bondo. And then hopefully by the end of next week, we can have the interior painted metallic gray. All right, it's that time of the night that I gotta pack up. It's time to go to work. I have not put any filler on the bed or the tailgate yet. But over here, I started with the bumper because I was like, all right, we're gonna paint the bumper the same color as the interior. Might as well spray it at the same time. So there was a little dent there that I wasn't happy with. And then I sanded some of the crappy looking areas. And then there was two little dings right there. But we'll sand this down, make sure it looks good. We'll prime it again. And then we're gonna be ready for top coat. And then I went ahead and did the fenders. Actually, I did those things. I'll go over there in a second. But I did the fenders. So there's a skim coat over that whole area. And then these things. So there's a skim coat over that area where I stretched it. So I got 400 grit on the orbital sander. I don't know. Also got like 200, 220. So I think 220 would probably be a lot better for doing the Bondo. I don't know, we'll see. Actually, this is 3M, so it's not technically Bondo, but it's filler. All right, so I came out here for a few hours before I go to work again. So we got some body filler in this thing, covering up all the dents, all the wavy spots. Before I sand any of this, I'm gonna finish putting body filler everywhere. So there's a little dent right there. I put just a little bit there that was left over, so I gotta go through and do the whole cab now. I did this little spot. There was a tiny ding. I think there's another tiny ding somewhere right in this area. Yeah. He's got the tailgate done. And so we'll get all of it applied, and then one day we'll go through, turn all the fans on in the garage, and we will sand this and make a huge giant dust cloud. All right, here we are. It's another Monday. Same as every other Monday. I worked all night last night, and now we're gonna come out here and pull a 24-hour day the rest of the time and work on the truck. So what I'm gonna do first, before I make a giant mess sanding off all this body filler. And it's on the roof. All of it's put on. I don't think I videoed any of that part because I did the cab yesterday. So I got all the areas I was concerned about. I didn't even think I was gonna do where I spot welded those on, but I ended up doing it anyway. I'm gonna put all these brackets back on the bed, and then I'm going to put this undercoating over top of them. So it's gonna seal them. And then from there, forgot this truck was blue. Then from there, what we're gonna do is this area. So I'm gonna cut out an oval in 1/8 inch and plate the front of the frame. I'll take these brackets off, get them primed, probably take this off and get this primed. Possibly this thing too, because those are just 3 easy pieces that are right there on the front that are not really going to affect the drivability of the truck. So far, I know the truck is completely stripped down, but so far I have not stripped anything that would make this like not drivable. I think the battery's still hooked up too on this side. Yeah, so I theoretically could just hop in there and turn the key and it'd be ready to roll. Like around the driveway at least. So the goal for the end of this week is to get the interior painted minus the insides of the doors. This bumper is going to be painted. The front bumper and the grill is going to be painted. Like finish painted. And that's all going to be metallic gray. So that's why all that stuff's going to get done at the same time. All right, we got our supports back in there. Now there's 4 long ones left and those go to the frame. And then those are for something else. So now we are going to undercoat this thing before I make a huge dust cloud out of all that stuff. Got the block off plates welded to the front of the frame. Welded that little area on. Same on this side. As of right now, I'm going to hold off on getting these primed because, I mean, there's going to be a coat of primer to go over all of this stuff once I get that sanded. And I got in here done with the rubberized undercoating. So, got it extra thick around those areas. Looks good now that it's black in there like it's supposed to be. But I'm sure it'll be filthy here. Literally the first time that we drive it. So I think now I'm going to sand all this down and get it ready for the second coat. She's primed for the second time. I did the last little bit of sanding that I needed to do in a few spots on this thing. Now, it does need just a little bit more body work, but I did this for 2 reasons. To protect it, because it's like week and a half, 2 weeks at a time before I'm able to get back out here and mess with it again during busy season here. And secondly, so that way I can see where any imperfections are. So maybe a little bit of work right there. I don't know. It just it shows up as a different color. But yeah, there's a low spot there that I knew about. And this is sandable primer, so that'll help with blending some of these areas. Yeah, see, that's just paint right there that was under this. So I have to sand some more of that because I sanded it once already. I'm hoping that the sandable primer, that I'll be able to sand this layer and it'll be pretty smooth after that. So the big reason that I did this second coat of primer again is because now the dash is primed, where I had to repair those 2 little spots right there. So I didn't have to do nothing back here. And then these 2 little pieces, I had to do a little bit of work on those. So they're primed again. And now, and then this one, I had to sand that one a lot because whatever was the factory paint under the primer had some spots in it, and I sanded, you know, with the primer, and it made it pretty smooth. So this thing, you know, all the interior pieces are gonna get painted metallic gray. But the bumper's ready. It gets painted the same time as the interior. This piece is ready now. There was a little spot right in there somewhere that I had to mess with. And then I did these. They'll need just a tiny bit more work right there. And then I'll do the tailgate at the same time as the bed. So we're making progress. I didn't video anything at all yesterday, but you guys are gonna love this. Oh yeah, we got paint. Yeah, this deep gray color is beautiful. I love it. There ain't as much light over here, so you can't tell, but these are shiny. They look really good too. I considered painting the top of this bumper black, but honestly, it looks pretty good the way it is. We're just gonna leave it for now. Here's the best part. And then that too, that's the valance that goes around the gauge cluster. But yeah, the grill looks pretty good. So that's the blue paint that I've had in those cans for a long time. And I was gonna paint the whole truck with that, but this is acrylic enamel, single stage. I don't know, only got 1.75 gallons of it. Not sure if I'm gonna paint the whole truck with it. But anyway, I set it in there, and this is the same black paint as this. I just used like a 2-inch wide foam brush and just barely got the top of those. And then I clear coated all of it. And so this thing seems to handle clear coat over top of it just fine. I don't know, that color blue is gorgeous. I may still use it on the cab, but there's a little bit more body work to do. And then there's this. This is a colossal F up. This one got dropped before it got clear coated. So I had it hanging here on this. You can see it's all damaged. I'm gonna have to redo it. Fell in the gravel. Super convenient. But yeah, I mean, there's no clear on this, so at least I don't have to sand all that off of there. What happened there was when I was spraying in here, you can see right there, the shifter is all the way down, so it's in drive, I guess. Anyway, I was spraying like that area, and so I pulled the shifter out of the way, and I went to do the next coat, and I climbed up here and was spraying the top of the dash, and then it started rolling backwards, and I didn't even realize it, and it knocked that over. So super, super convenient. Had to redo this. So what's on the agenda for today is wet sanding and buffing. Now, I'm not going to get out of control because the seat is going to cover this area, but we're going to maybe do a little bit. I'm halfway considering just leaving it alone, honestly. I mean, it looks really good as long as this light's not shining directly on the orange peel. It's not even that bad, really. This one seems to have like dust in it, maybe. And right there was a paint. Yeah, there was a spot of paint right there. You can kind of see that dripped because my good old Harbor Freight worn out spray guns, the seal went out and it dropped a big old fat blob on there. Yeah, you can see I might wet sand and buff this area for sure. But we're not going to get too crazy because right there, that'll just shred my buff wheel, and I don't want dust all over the place any more than we already have, or to bend up that, or to just strip away the paint. Don't need those problems. So yeah, you can really see it there, but it looks really freaking good other than the orange peel. So wet sanding and buffing, and then what we're gonna do later in the day, if we get that far, I turned around and looked at this, but what I'd probably honestly do next is put the interior back together. But yeah, this needs to get done too. I need to finish sanding some areas on this thing, like right there, and then get the final coat of primer on that thing. And so what I decided I'm gonna do, I'm gonna literally just slap this truck back together. So it is like May 5th, May 6th or something now. The car shows that I'm going to is Beatersville on May 25th and UCC. I don't even know when that is. I think it's like June 1st or 3rd or something. But this truck's going to be there regardless of if it's fully painted or not. I think that I'll definitely have the bed and primer. The doors may or may not be done. The hood is still blue. The hood and the doors will probably get done at the same time, honestly, if I do it. So here's the color blue that I was going to use. And this is single stage acrylic enamel paint. And of course this is filthy and got scratches in it. But this is the paint that I used. And I didn't do any prep work on this. I literally sanded it so that way this paint would stick, and I sprayed it. So there's imperfections in it. I don't even think I primed it. But anyway, I did buff this thing, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not. I don't even remember. Maybe I didn't. Who knows? But yeah, this is single stage acrylic enamel paint, and I only have 1 gallon and 3/4 of it. I don't know if that's enough to do the whole truck. But yeah, that's pretty well the color that we're going for. And it's like $35 cans of paint in 2005. So I don't know, you know, if that'd be like a $75 can of paint now, but either way, that's pretty cheap. Considering using it, but may just use some chroma base or maybe some Nason paint. I don't know. We'll see. Here's an update on the kitties. They're getting big. They're about ready to leave the nest. They're trying to crawl out of here. So we got Tigger and we got Rue. I think you can figure out which one's which. Wet sanded and buffed. Pulled all the masking paper down. Vacuumed all the carpet because it was pretty gross. Last thing I did in this truck before I pulled it in here and tore it all apart was go out and mow. So there was grass and filth and all kinds of crap in here. But anyway, she's clean now. We're about to look real good. So yeah, we're gonna pull it back outside. I have to pull this off. Pull it outside, stick some seats in it, stick the dash in it, put it all back together, put the trim back up there. So envision this. This thing, this plate will be this color eventually, and then I'm gonna stick one of those black bow ties with the chrome, like the new Chevys have. I got one back here somewhere. Yeah, one of these guys. So this thing's a little smaller than I expected, but you know, you get the idea here. We'll get to that eventually. I'll just have to spray this thing separate. I couldn't get it off there before I painted, so we'll do it another time. I can't even tell you guys how excited I am to finally be putting this interior back together. It's a mess. I'm gonna be armor-alling everything as we go. Gonna put the whole dash back together. Pretty sure this battery's connected. Oh yeah. Yeah, man, this thing's sexy. So yeah, we're gonna clean the seats because they're disgusting. And we're gonna stick the lower dash back in and armor all the piss out of it because it's filthy. And if it doesn't shine up well enough, then we may just pull it back out and paint it black with this clear coat, so that way it's nice and shiny. Then we're gonna put all this trim back together. I'm excited, dude. The inside's gonna look real good. The doors are still gonna be silver. On the inside, at least. They're still blue and black right now. Oh yeah. It's got dirt in it already. All right. Yeah, buddy. So here's all the pieces. Got a long way to go. All right, so we got our dash put back together. Looks pretty good. Now, I still got to do this area, the valance that goes around that thing. I just put this back on. All right, so now we're going to pull it in the garage. And when we get in here, I'm gonna empty all these tools out, throw the seats in because they're heavy and I don't want to carry them very far. And then we're gonna back her back outside and bolt the seats down, including the one I'm in because I'm popping a wheelie right now. All right, guys, I'm calling it for this video. Was really hoping to get a lot more done, but this side business has turned into like a full-time thing. And then random stupid stuff like the wheel bearing failing on the Dodge. I had to fix that last night. So all those things slowing these videos down, so bear with me. But next video is gonna be completely devoted to the truck. The next 2 weeks at least is what I mean. So we're gonna be videoing that. So anyway, this truck is going to Beatersville Car Show, whether it is, obviously it's not gonna be fully painted, but it's going in primer. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get the bed the rest of the way in primer, that fender that's not done the rest of the way in primer, and the bed back on the truck, and anything that's a loose end, we're gonna work towards getting done. And also the orange truck, it needs a little bit of love, so it's gonna also go to Beatersville Car Show. And then Maximus is going to UCC in Indianapolis or wherever it's at up there. So Maximus will be there. Orange truck, I don't know if it's going or not. So there's the plan. Honorable mentions of this video. Young Man Ride sponsored this video, and he got me set up with a hat and a shirt. So go find him on Instagram and give him a like and follow. That is Young Man Ride. So recap of this video. Interior got painted. I threw my doors back on. This side's a little bit out of adjustment, but the interior looks literally incredible. I love that color. Like, it is just so awesome. There's a little bit left to do. Like, you know, once the doors are all the way back on, I'll do my locks. That's my lock thing. And the power windows obviously ain't in this truck, but yeah, so forward progress. We'll fix this hole. One of the biggest things everybody is so pissed off about is that this steering wheel still has a Dodge emblem on it. Yes, I'm going to get to that. I have a bow tie for it. So that will get done eventually. Same with this. Back here, we got back seats. Oh yeah, there's this that I got to get done too. So I painted this thing, and I'm thinking I'm going to use this plexiglass piece. I may have to polish it again. It looks like it's got some scratches and crap. But anyway, I ground off, or I sanded off lightly the old sticker or paint or whatever it was. You can kind of still see it there, so I might sand it some more. But anyway, generator and oil lines up with where the gen and oil gauges are on this Dodge, so I'm probably going to use that. And then these pieces go in there too, so I have to get all that done. But yeah, basically what I'm getting at here, the next 2 weeks I'm putting all my side work off other than mowing, because, you know, mowing has to be done literally every week. But there's 2 weeks until car shows, and I'm gonna focus only on this, and it's gonna all be on video. Also, the grill is painted. It looks literally incredible. And this truck is gonna be this color. Turn these lights on. Of course, this is acrylic enamel paint, and it's filthy disgusting, and I didn't do any prep work whenever I spray bombed this thing. But that is the color that we're going with, and I'm probably gonna buy urethane-based paint. This is also going to the car show. So yeah, next video, gonna be a lot of getting shit done on this truck, and then maybe Beatersville at the end of the next video, which is my favorite time of the year. Also, in good news and things that are gonna be coming up, there's this guy that I've been nagging for a while to sell me this old truck he's got sitting in his yard. And finally, he has given me the go-ahead to go drag it out of the woods. So that is gonna be my next crew cab build. It is a single cab right now. So we're gonna improve it and make it a 4-door, because it's a truck that Chevy never made a crew cab from the factory. It's not this body style, by the way, so you guys can do some guessing, because I'm not gonna say what it is just yet. But that's coming up just the same. Orange truck, we got so many things going on. The orange truck, we're gonna pull the turbo off of and adjust the wastegate, maybe do it without pulling the turbo, I don't know. But it's got a boost leak, and I've checked literally everything else. And then we're gonna have a lot more fun doing burnouts and, you know, screwing around, because that's basically all that truck ever comes out of the driveway for, is to dick off with. Maximus, next week it's balls to the wall. We'll see you guys then.